Neo-noir is a reimagination of film noir, which boomed in Hollywood during the 40s and 50s. The term film noir was introduced by French film critic Nino Frank in 1946, as he categorized films with an emphasis on criminal psychology, mystery, and violence. The film noir style was often recognized by murder, gangsters, and gothic romances, but the neo-noir genre has evolved to expand these indications. Thematic indicators of neo-noir can expose violence, sex, moral ambiguity, and criminal activities, but the defining elements are endless. In Batman Begins, the director Christopher Nolan, the editor Lee Smith, and the cinematographer Wally Pfister collaborate to make a superhero film that fits all the trappings of film noir. Batman Begins is noir, at least in the eyes of Christopher Nolan, who wrote and directed the film. Noir as a genre has been defined by various visual archetypes that, while it makes the genre of film easily recognizable, Nolan says there is more to noir than that, and that his take on Batman highlights what film noir is. In an interview with Jason Nee, Nolan states that noir can be identified through how lighting, or the lack of it, and the shadows all interact with story elements and with the mental state of the characters. More importantly, he references what made old noir films of the past so memorable and contemporary. When you see the old noir films, you realize they were very contemporary stories, imbued with the exaggerated everyday fears. In the world of Batman Begins, the fear of corruption, loss of control, and of injustice run rampant and are all heightened. An organization from the shadows controls everything, and unless a dark defender steps in, the city will be gripped by a paralyzing fear. Wally Pfister, the cinematographer, worked closely with Nolan to transform the comic book setting of Gotham City into a more realistic, noir-esque metropolis shrouded in darkness and intrigue. As Nolan's cinematographer, Pfister ensures the frame is able to capture the many subtleties of inspiration scattered throughout the film's settings and characters. In addition to collaborating several times with and the director of photography, Pfister is known for his captivating wide angles, vast establishing shots, and symbolism he manages to achieve through them. Through Batman Begins, Pfister shoots these immersive world-building establishing shots using anamorphic lenses to encapsulate the vastness of Gotham City in a single frame. Anamorphic lenses blur the edges of the frame whilst the center stays focused on the subject, therefore the lens creates a sense of character and dirtiness in the frame, much like Gotham itself. Nolan and Pfister collaboratively designed Gotham to be filled with towering Gothic Art Deco skyscrapes, reminiscent of New York in the late 1950s. This mysterious brooding city backdrop is a common trope synonymous with neo-noir and crime thriller genre. Pfister pairs Gotham's infamous skyline with an intentional and now iconic dark and neutral color palette, with occasional splashes of color to effectively transfer the classic grayscale aesthetic of a noir film into a modern neo-noir blockbuster. Pfister's use of mise-en-scène repeatedly throughout Batman Begins indirectly pays homage to the many film noir tropes, such as the use of rain-soaked alleyways to give off a damp, cold, and isolated atmosphere. An additional example of noir inspiration would be Pfister's choice of lighting. He purposefully decides between low-key lighting to intrigue the audience or enhance the iconic silhouette of our main protagonist. However, high-key lighting is used in rotation additionally to provide harsh and direct spotlights on characters in scenes of high emotion to build tension or even fear. This lighting also creates a lot of shadow in the frame, which Pfister uses to his advantage. Therefore, the choice of set design, camera lenses, color palette, and lighting chosen by Pfister enhances the overall aesthetic of the cinematography throughout the film and aligns with Nolan's vision to create a neo-noir Batman. Lee Smith contributes a consistent neo-noir editing style throughout Batman Begins. Smith's choice of cutting, diegetic sound choices, and a rejection of classic Hollywood continuity constructs a disjointed and oniric edit that is consistent with that of a neo-noir film. Smith has consistently included an intentional pattern of cutting that moves in from panoramic to establishing shots to long and mid shots through the close-ups of the main characters. This is a neo-noir executed cutting pattern that is consistent with providing a dramatic focus on time and space and the main character's psychological involvement within that time and space. Lee Smith has made deliberate decisions to include mellow, often sorrowful diegetic sound that is unobtrusive to the oniric neo-noir style and has lesser music and action sequences. There is no sound included in several fight scenes. The audience is forced to hear the uncomfortable grunts and blows from the men to focus on the reality of the scene, separating it from the consistent flashbacks. Lee Smith has purposely created disjointed editing that overlaps scenes with separate continuity, relying on the audience's educated sense of film style and narrative to purposefully expand the time and space of continuity editing to find new time and spaces. There are several occasions where Smith cuts from one time to a completely new time and space in the future, and even to the past. This is evident in several flashback scenes to Wayne's childhood. This fragmented continuity enforces the audience to focus on the main character and their psyche transforming through time and space. This same effect is justified using overlapping scenes where multiple events from differing time and spaces are exhibited to be occurring in the same moment. This technique purposely lulls the dignifying moments in Bruce Wayne's experience, momentarily releases us from decoding film style to take in the narrative. Lee Smith's choice of cutting, sound, and disjointed continuity are all purposefully crafted in the accordance with neo-noir style, establishing a focus on Wayne's psyche and objectivity in the narrative of Batman Begins. Overall, it is clear that Batman Begins was created with the intention to produce a neo-noir adaptation of Gotham's billionaire vigilante. This was achieved by the creative collaboration between director Christopher Nolan, cinematographer Wally Pfister, and editor Lee Smith. Nolan's love for film noir is apparent as he incorporates appropriate conventions to highlight themes of fear and corruption. Pfister's cinematography effectively utilizes lighting, color palette, and camera mechanics to construct a noirish Gotham City with a dark and brooding atmosphere. Finally, Smith adheres to the noir style by incorporating discontinuity editing that cuts between time and space to separate scenes that explore Bruce's psyche and the brutality of the world he lives in. Overall, noir is a style that captivated the film industry during the golden age of Hollywood, and yet, decades later, its influence is apparent in neo noir films such as Batman Begins.